Assalamualaikum. This is your computer science teacher, Sir Fawadakhtara, and today we will discuss about the procedure, the pseudocode. So basically, what is a procedure? It is like a normal code, but the procedure makes our program more smarter, more efficient, and more quicker for the compiler. Basically, it is. We can also say that it is a block of code that can be used again and again without burdening the compiler, because for example, if I write a simple program and when I execute it or run it, so my compiler used to read the whole program from start to the finish. But when I write the procedure and when I execute it, so my compiler only go through the procedure part of the program, so it can be called it again and again in my main program. So basically, if I write a normal program and I'm running it again and again, so my compiler will be burdenized because it will read the same code again and again. But when I make a procedure of the same program, so my compiler will not read it again. Instead, it just allocate a memory for it and place it there. So it does not need the compiler does not need to put efforts on processing it. So this is a procedure basically. If we talk about the features, that what are the possible features, basically there are many features. I have just written down few of the features, like as I told you that a procedure is a block of code, or it is a smaller program or a part of a program. For example, our normal program is breaking down into the smaller components, so we can make it in the form of a procedure. For example, if I talk about the string handling, so string handling has got four components: uh, length, uppercase, lowercase, and substring. So when I make the normal program, I put all of these things in the string handling. But instead, if I make a procedure, so it will my program will be break down into the components of it. So it can be organized way better than the normal program. So that is why we make a procedure. So for example, as I told you, I explained you the same thing. So let's go through the features of it. For example, instead of writing the same logic again and again, we can just make a procedure, so our compiler can easily process it. It basically minimizes the efforts of the compiler to burdenize. Next, it is loaded into the memory whenever it is called. So as I told you that a memory is located, so allocated for it. So procedures are loaded into the memory, and then it can be recalled again and again. Then compiler optimizes the reusable codes. For example, that the procedure has been used earlier, so the same procedure can be used again and again without making your program slow. Next thing is, why do we need to make a procedure? We can make the program in a simple way, but why we need a procedure? So basically, it is used to simplify the code. As I told you that it breaks down the program into the smaller parts, so it is easy to debug, or it is easy to manage the code. So this is the first pointer. Next, promote reusability. As I told you many times that it can be used again and again without burdenizing the compiler. Then improve maintenance. If you want to edit the code, then you can easily update or edit the code later on. And the most important thing, organize the logic. So it makes the program structured, straightforward. Like it is easier to debug and make it more structured, more easier than the normal program. I hope you understood the concept of it. So what, let's summarize what we have studied. So procedure basically is a part of the program which is break down into the smaller parts to make our code more smarter, more efficient, and more accessible by the compiler. And it gives less burden to the compiler, so the compiler can easily recall it from the memory location. So I just summarized whatever I explained. Now next thing is, let's try to solve this question. uh, write an algorithm using pseudocode Write an algorithm using pseudocode to write a procedure to input the name, then convert the name into upper and lower case, and then output the name in the upper and lower case. So basically it refers to the string handling, right? So I am not starting from the procedure. I just start from the body of the code. So let's start working on the body of the code. So we have already made the code of the string handling, so just do not think that we are making a procedure. First let's start working on the body of the code, which is a normal thing. For example, I take okay, let's start with the inputting. So ignore the declaration and initialization, we will discuss it later. First start working on the body of the code to input the name. So basically I first input the name. Let's start from here. I input the name, then I take the uppercase or u case. So basically this u case is a keyword which we will use to convert our text into the uppercase. So u case is a formula, and we are talking about the variable name. So our whatever the name is stored in this variable, it will be converted into the uppercase, and I store it into the variable upper. In the same way, I want to convert the same data which is stored into the name variable into the lower case, and once it is converted, it will be stored into the variable lower, and then we can simply print it out, display output, whatever you want to say. So this is it. Now we can do the declaration and initialization. So this is a simple program that we have already made in the string handling, but now it's time to convert it into the procedure, because it says write a procedure. So how do we make a procedure? So let's start the basics of it. So basically whenever we write a procedure, so we first write the keyword procedure. This is a keyword that we always have to write. Then we have to write the name of the procedure. The name should be meaningful, as you know that we are making the program of the string handling, and in the string handling we are converting our text into the upper and lower case. So that is why I named my procedure upper and lower. And the third thing is the parameter, which will basically accept the input data from the user whenever we will call our procedure. So basically whatever we are going to input, we will display its data type as well. So we will write our variable name that we input, and then we also define its data type. So first keyword is the procedure, next is the function, next is the procedure name, and the third one is the parameter that we will input. Now let's see how do we write in our pseudocode. Okay, so this is how we write the procedure. So this is my keyword procedure, and then I write the name of the procedure, and then I take my variable along with its data type. So this is a procedure, the keyword and the name of the procedure and the variable that we input. So we declared as the data type string. And now when we finish our procedure completes here. So we just write end procedure, just like in the conditional statement. We start with the if, and then we close it with the end if. Then we start the for loop, and then we close it from the keyword next. When we start the while loop, we close it with the end while, and when we start with the repeat loop, so we close it with the until keyword. So in the same way, the procedure will be closed with the keyword and procedure. Now next step is to calling the procedure into the main program. So how do we call it? So we have to use the keyword call. Let me delete the extra lines. So yeah. Okay, it's here. So one more thing that hope you have noticed, like we must take care of the indentation. Indentation means the gap that you can see, the gap that you can see in all the lines, because we are writing the code inside the procedure. So when we write the code inside the procedure or inside the conditionals or inside the loop, so we have to give some gap or the space, and then we have to call it into the main program. Now we just write the keyword call. This is a keyword call, and then we write the name of our procedure. So whenever we write the call keyword and write the name of the procedure, so our procedure will be called whenever we write the keyword call. And this is it. We write E and E N. I hope you understood the concept of the procedure. Now in the same way, there is another question that we have to write a procedure to input a real number. Then number should not below 5 and above 20, and we have to round off the number to 2 decimal places, and then we will output the. So it means that we have to use some library routines. So let's make a code of it. Now I'm leaving some lines for the declaration and the initialization and the procedure keyword. So I am just working on the body of the code. So let's make sure that we input a real number, and we have to make sure that the number should not below 5 and above 20. So I already wrote the code, so that's why I'm not writing it again. So basically what I used the input enter number, and I will store it into the variable, and then I make sure that the number must not below 5 or the number must not above 20. So we will go for it. We can also write the AND keyword over here. So we are testing the two conditions at the same time, that if the number is below 5 and the number is above 20. So we have to make sure that our number must not below 5 and the number must not above 20. If the above condition becomes true, so we will display the message to the user. But this message will be displayed only once. But I want to trap the user that until the user input the correct numbers, the same thing will be repeated again and again. So how do I trap the user? I will use a repeat loop to trap the user to make sure he must input the correct numbers. Now I trapped my user with the repeat loop, and you can see that there is a indentation, there is a gap between the beginning of the line. So you can see that this is space. So I have written the code inside the loop to make sure that the user must follow the condition. So this is how it will be done. Let me write it in the uppercase. Alright. Now our input process has been done. Now it's time to round off a number to 2 decimal places, and then we will output it. So I take the formula round and I write it in capital uppercase, and then number means our variable, and then how many places should we take. So 2 decimal places, so that is why we write here 2. If there are 3 number of decimal places, then we write here 3, and if there are 4 number of places, so we will write 4 here. And then we store the entire formula into our variable round underscore number, and then we will make a output of it. Now let's do the declaration and initialization. Okay, so now I paste it here, declaration, and the initialization has been done. Okay, let me write. Alright. Now next thing is we have to write this code, this program, this pseudocode inside the procedure. So now it's time to write the procedure name, the keyword procedure, the name of the procedure, and then the input variable. Now I wrote the keyword procedure, then I set the name of my procedure is round underscore off. And in this procedure, what variable will be my input? So this is a placeholder, and my data type is real. Basically, I wrote the visualbasic.net code, and then I converted into the pseudocode. So that is why, because visualbasic.net does not follow the capitalization of the variables or the data types, so that is why it was in the Google case. So now I am doing the editing in writing it into the pseudocode format, which is defined by the Cambridge Computer Science syllabus. Now inside the procedure we are doing this code, so you can see the indentation, and here I write the keyword end procedure to make sure that my procedure has been finished. Now it's time to call the procedure into the main program. Alright, so now I call my procedure into the main program. So this is it. I hope you understood the concept of writing the procedure, that how do we do it. And if you have still got queries, you may ask me questions in the WhatsApp. You may send me your queries, and inshallah we will discuss it. Thank you so much watching the video, and good luck. Allah Hafiz.